Hey guys, welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot and Mon and You. I'm doing kind of a crossover reading here. Kind of getting my toes wet or dipping my toes back in the water. Well, I think that's the saying. Essentially, I am just kind of baby stepping my way into coming back and channeling. So before I really get into the message, so I've got a couple of collective messages that I'm going to be filming. Before I get into those, I first want to start by explaining kind of my absence. So I started up Mana and You, and I really was baby stepping at that time, like seriously baby stepping. And then I set up for Libra's reading, midway through April, and life just kind of came to a halt for me. In late April, and some of you may have already seen this because I did post it on my pages. But in late April, one of my absolute best friends, he was like a little brother to me, definitely part of my soul family, decided to take his own life. And I am still navigating through the depths of loss and sorrow that come with that. It's a day-by-day process, grief is. And if you are here from Chemistry with Kismet Tarot, you know that grief and loss and death has been a constant companion for me for the past few years. I have lost significantly important people in my life, starting back in 2022, and it's been pretty much every year I've been navigating through this. So with that, with the changes as far as like my husband has been gone overseas and I've been in this role of like single mom. And even though my kids are older, single momming is way more exhausting than I remember after my divorce. So it was a very, very busy at home kind of spring for me. Sorry if you guys can hear Willow. You know, some of you know she gets kind of worked up when I channel. But through this time, and the reason why I'm sharing this is it does have to do with this message. Throughout this time, a lot of the other things going on have been very deeply personal changes that I have made. Changes regarding, who's in my circle, who I communicate with, how much of myself I'm willing to give to others, and how much effort I have been making in certain relationships, and realizing that it has been so significantly one way that it was so draining for me. Taking a step back from that, really embracing myself. I was doing a lot of things for teenage Monica, in the sense of like teenage Monica and like even 6-year-old Monica. That was a really big one for me. Okay. So 6-year-old Monica really wanted to have a lip ring. But I had lived a lot of my life afraid that if I were to get facial piercings or certain tattoos, that my family would disown me. And I decided to embrace myself a lot more this year. And as you guys can see, I got hand tattoos, which was another one of those things. So I have those, but I also pierced my lip and I pierced my eyebrows, and I'm jumping out of an airplane. And like there's a lot of things that I'm doing that are really just kind of stretching the bounds of how I used to define myself and the ways in which I've always yearned to kind of express myself and not allowed myself that full expression. And with that, we come to this collective message. So this message is about a crossroads, and it's a collective crossroads. So at any given point in time, everyone in the collective, give me just 1 second, guys. I'm going to go let Willow out. Hold that thought. Okay. So I definitely plan on editing that out, but I didn't want to pause it and then come back. And turns out she just knows that the sun is going down and it's getting kind of late outside. And so that means it's definitely TREAT time for her. And if I say it out loud, then the other dogs all go crazy. And it's not their time yet. Their time comes in about an hour and a half. Anyway, I was talking about being at a collective crossroads. So at any given point in time, we're all at a crossroads point in our life. We kind of, we look at these moments as though they're very unique. But if you think about it, every single day we hit a crossroads. Like when we wake up, we're at a crossroads. Are we going to continue to sleep or are we going to get out of bed? If we get out of bed, are we going to shower or are we going to go to the gym or are we going to have our coffee first? All of these different things, these different decisions in our lives, we're at crossroads. There are many ways that we can go. But then we have these much bigger crossroads moments. We have these like life-defining moments. So in a couple of months, I'm going to be tandem jumping out of an airplane. It's a life-defining moment. I am a person who is horrendously terrified of heights. When I went to Montana with he's now my husband, but he was my boyfriend at the time. We were on the edge of this cliff and it wasn't not like this death-defying position or anything like that, but we're on the edge of this cliff because I wanted to take a picture of a waterfall that I had to kind of reach around and stretch around to take a picture of. And it took me about 7 or 8 takes to be able to get this picture of the waterfall because I was shaking about like this. And it was uncontrollable. Like my body was shaking out of control because of my just deep-seated fear of heights. And so I wanted to really face my fears and do it in a big way. So I could have been like, okay, I'm going to face my fears and stand on the edge of a cliff. Sure. What's a better way to face your fear is allowing that fear to be something that is exhilarating, that reminds you of why you're alive and what it means to be alive and how it feels to fully embrace your aliveness. A year ago, not quite a year ago, well, a year ago, I started having symptoms that I was afraid of what the implications were. 6, 7, I want to say it's December, January, February, March. Yeah, 6 months and 6.5 months, we'll say 6.5 months ago. I was on my deathbed, literally on my deathbed, on the brink of being completely comatose. My entire endocrine system had shut down. So essentially, my pituitary gland in my brain stopped working. My thyroid, my thymus, my adrenals, all of them stopped working. I didn't have a metabolism. I didn't have a way of controlling my body temperature. I didn't have a way of controlling my emotionality. I didn't have a way of controlling how well I slept or if I slept. I would go through bouts of being like an insomniac and then sleeping really deeply because I was so exhausted, tired. My entire body got thrown off because its hormonal system was completely nullified. And I don't mean like it wasn't working very well. I mean, I was not producing cortisol. It was a miracle I was waking up kind of thing. And they didn't know what the problem was. It took a while, but it turns out that the problem was that I just simply had lost my will to continue. I had gone through loss and destruction and grief and chaos, and I lost my sense of belonging. I lost my connection to family. I lost my sense of having an origin point in my life. And I was at a massive crossroads where I could either integrate the lessons that I had been learning for the past several years about how I respond to death, or I could run away. And I'm sorry to say, I ran away. I ran away because I was afraid to continue to live in a world that didn't make sense to me. And the world didn't make sense to me because of the people that had gone from this world, because of the traumatic experience of losing somebody unexpectedly, because of the bonds that were broken in those losses. And I don't mean bonds with the people that were lost or the people that had moved on. I mean bonds here in this world with the people that were still alive and how they broke down. The betrayals and everything, it became so much that I lost my will to live. But I was at that crossroads point and I could feel my body dying. I could feel it throughout my whole body. I knew it was happening. I'm not 100% out of the woods. In July, I have repeat labs. In February, if everything goes well and my endocrine system continues to function again as it has been without the medications, I will be cleared to be able to remove it from my medical records as a current issue. I won't have to take a rescue steroid pack with me everywhere that I go. I won't need emergency medical bracelets, alert bracelets, or anything like that. Essentially, it will be something of the past. However, during that time, there was also damage done all the way down to my bone marrow. And there were changes that we aren't really sure what the cause of them are, nor what the long running implications are. It does seem as though my bone marrow is still messed up. So again, I came to a crossroads point. I had to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to look at this and be like, well, I probably have a really slow burn chronic lymphoma or leukemia. And so I need to just sit down and wait for it to come, wait for it to get bad enough? Or do I just live my life? And 6.5 months ago, I gave up. Today, I can tell you, screw it. They're going to continue to do tests every year and we're going to monitor it. And from there, we're just going to handle it as it comes. But I'm going to live my life. And in fact, I have been living my life more fully. I've been more engaged in my life. I'm finally able to go back to the gym. I'm finally starting to take a lot of the weight that being sick brought me to gaining. I'm starting to be able to take that off. My body is returning back to its optimum state. My metabolism is working again, finally. And things are going well. I'm sleeping better. I'm eating better. A lot of that has to do with my mind, my mindset. So here's the thing. We're in this point of collective crossroads. What are we going to do? Are we going to go down path A, path B, path C, path D? And as I was receiving this, I was in the shower, and usually in the shower, I do intention showers and cleansing showers. But when I really get deep in there, I call in the elements. I go with the 4 directions, and I have a different correlation to the directions in the elemental correlation to them, which is a kind of modern shamanic practice in which you develop your own relationship with the different factors out in the world, like the elements, like the 4 directions, like their correlation and what it means to you. Because when you do that, you have that personal connection between the energies. So for me, they mean something different. So that is what I was picking up, because I got this collective crossroads, and then I saw a compass and the 4 directions. So I asked Spirit today to give me a little bit more clarity on what it is that we're dealing with. So part of it is this shadow of limbo. So this is the Arcanum Vitae deck. I hope this will. There we go. So we got limbo. And I love, love these cards. So this correlates to the Temperance card, but it's almost like it's this portal energy. So we step inside this limbo space, this liminal space, and we're in this kind of energetic portal. And we get to choose which direction we go, whether we go up or down through the portal, whether it's about where the portal is going to take us. So the core challenge here is the letter and the animus. And the animus is actually the back of the deck energy. So it's just that kind of shadow energy. So with these two cards, what we're looking at is, what do we hear within ourselves? What are we hearing from spirit that is giving us that motivation, that drive to go out and do things, to live our life? So 6.5 months ago, I'm sitting there and I was done. I didn't have anything that I felt like was telling me, keep going. And yet at the same time, I kept telling my family, I genuinely believe that we get to choose, that life or death is a choice for us. At some point, we say, this is what I'm willing to do. And when faced with the things that I was faced with, I kept saying, I get to choose, and I'm choosing to live. And so in that, I had to really battle my way through. And when you're fighting to stay out of a coma, it's really not easy, guys. Like, it's not easy. Every time I'd close my eyes, it would be like this vortex just sucking me down into blackness. And I didn't want to do it. And I just kept feeling like if I just held on a little tighter and kept fighting, I would make it through. And I did. There was some part of me that was saying, you can do this. You can keep going. When we aren't really sure what we're here to do, what we're here to create. And guys, I'm not sure what I'm here to do or here to create. I'm just creating as I go, really, at this point. I used to think I knew, and then I didn't. When we're here to figure it out, when we're at that phase, I need to figure it out. I need to sort it out. Shit hits the fan. Excuse my language, but shit hits the fan internally, because we're going, what am I missing? Where am I at? And so we feel like our whole lives are up in the air, stuck in this limbo point. Am I in the right relationship? Am I in the right job? Am I in the right home? Am I in the right neighborhood? Am I believing the right things? Am I studying the right things? Am I engaging in the right things? All of these questions of, am I doing this the right way, or am I doing this the wrong way? Is this what's true to me, or is this me following someone else's path? We can really get ourselves twisted up. So the challenge here is recognizing which part of which message is right to inspire you to move forward. And in that, we have the 4 directions. And so we have 4 different areas of our life. We have the north, which is water, and our emotional challenge. So what emotions are challenging that notion of, this is where I should go. This is what I should do. This is the message that Spirit has brought to me in order to ignite the fires within me to move, to do, to become, to create. What is it that is emotionally holding me back? So that's what we're going to look at here. When we go to the east, we're going to be looking at the element of fire, just like the rising of the sun, but this is the rising of the inspiration and the passion. What fuels us? And what do we need to really stoke that fire within us? So I'm being brought back to 2022. So in 2022, I wrote and published 6 books, I think. Maybe 7. 7 books, 7 books. 7 books, a self-help book, and then 6 astrological guidebooks for the retrograde season. And during that, the inspirational fire inside of me, the passionate fire inside of me was ablaze consistently, continuously. Chemistry with Kismet Tarot was taking off. And I was collaborating with all of these different creators And I was writing and publishing and writing and publishing and writing and publishing and writing and publishing. And there was no stopping me until 2023 came and those fires burnt out. But that motivation, that I know what I'm here to say, I know what I'm here to do, I know what I'm here to create, and I'm going to go and do it. That is what this is addressing. What is it that we need to do that? Then we go down to the south. And in the south, it's the element of earth. Now, I want to remind you guys that the way that my elemental correlations are not the traditional elemental correlations. These are how me and the elements interact. So if you find that this applies in a different form for you, please go ahead and take it how it resonates. With the earth element, this is about the physical body. What is it within our physicality that we need to address in order to be able to listen to the message from spirit and move forward? And then finally, we move to the west. And with the west, we have wind or air. And this is about the mental body. What are the mindsets that we need to face, to address, to overcome, or to embrace in order to really, truly move forward in our life? So we are actually going to go north, south, east, west. For whatever reason, that is the order in which this information came to me. So we're going to look at the emotional energy first. So we have, emotionally, we have the ether, however you want to pronounce it. And this is the card number 1. So it correlates to the Magician card and Mercury. So here's the biggest thing that I'm getting here is everything is interconnected. And the thing that we don't often recognize is that our emotions are, some people will say our emotions are data. It's just a set of data. Our emotions are a different field of energy within ourselves that are telling us something. What they're telling us depends on how we translate that. So this challenge to being able to hear the messages that are right for you and move forward in your life, to move in the direction from this kind of transport portal point out forward into your life and to really create the life that you're here to create, depends on how you communicate with your emotional body. What do your emotions tell you? For a really long time, I had shut my emotional understanding down. And that's, I consider it kind of like it's not a great skill to have, honestly, but it's a skill. So I shut down my emotional understanding, my emotional awareness. I forgot what certain things felt like. I forgot what it felt like to be happy. I forgot what it felt like to be myself because I was taking care of so many other people in my life. And because I was watching out for so many people and worrying about so many other people, I started taking their emotions on as if they were my own. Because of my empathic gift, I lost touch with my own emotions and my own energy, my own motivations, my own inspirations. And I just kind of became other people. So then I stopped understanding the way that emotions worked within me. So I go back to this, like, I learned what happiness feels like inside of me. And it's kind of like a ridiculous thing to say. But the truth is I had to relearn what it feels like because I look out and so many people that I know have identified or defined happiness as something that makes you giggle and makes you smile and makes you laugh. And it's this kind of joy and bubbly feeling and like, yay, super duper, woohoo. That's not how happiness feels to me. Happiness to me is this contentment. It's a calm assurance that everything is okay. It's this feeling like I can breathe without a weight on my chest, that I can open my eyes and I don't have to be afraid, That's what happiness feels like to me. And that's what I had to learn for myself, is how my emotions communicated with me. And in all honesty, I had to be able to sit down and listen to myself first. So the messages that were coming to me from my emotional body are what I needed to hear in order to be able to take action in what I needed to do. One of the things I needed to do was acknowledge that I was in a deeply depressive state and that I was really struggling to get out of it on my own. So I needed help. I asked for help, went back to therapy, started taking medications. It's not anything that I'm ashamed of. I'm actually incredibly proud of myself for recognizing it and for saying, this is something that I need help with. Because not all of us have the ability to just pull ourselves out of the darkness like that. Sometimes we need help. And that is one of the reasons why, in my belief, I'm here in the modern age, where these resources are readily available to help me get through those so that I can help others. Okay, so this is asking you to think about how you communicate, but how your emotions communicate with you. How do you communicate with them? What is that pattern and that dynamic in between you and your emotional body? And when I say you, I mean yourself, your higher self, your greater level of conscious awareness, and the emotional interaction in those. That also will then come down here. So this is another reason I get now, thank you, Spirit, why we're looking at the southern, north to south first. Because when we experience our emotions, it isn't just an internalized kind of dialogue kind of thing. It's a physicality. We feel it. So we want to look at how our emotions sink down into our body. And here we've got the card 15, and it says repressed desires. Oh, these cards are so beautiful. Ooh, gorgeous. I love them. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry. I'm just really caught by like shining the light. So this correlates to the Devil card and to Capricorn. When we don't heed our own emotions, we're not actually heeding anything. So we end up repressing a lot of things that we want for ourselves. And in that repression, when we're not properly flowing with this stuff and we're shoving shit down, our bodies carry that. There's a book, and granted, I'm going to recommend this book. It's still on my to be read list because I've tried to read it, I think 2 or 3 times, and it's very challenging emotionally for me because it's very accurate. So it's called The Body Keeps Score. And this is a book about how our body stores trauma. It stores our emotions. So when we are repressing things, we're building this tangled web inside of ourselves of all of these desires that we have, all of these wants and these dreams and these wishes and these goals that we have. And we're trapping the point in which we want to get to in our life. We're trapping that inside of ourselves. And when we do that, we're not honoring this life, this physicality, the way that we're connected to everything. I have had a love-hate relationship with my body. I have severe body dysmorphia. So no matter how much weight I gain, no matter how much weight I lose, it's more like however much weight I lose. I could be like, when I was in high school, I was like 115 pounds, like soaking wet, 115 pounds, even after having a baby. And yet when I looked in the mirror, I saw myself at like 300 pounds and I was disgusted by myself. The more weight that I gain, the worse that gets. And when you struggle with something like body dysmorphia, you also struggle with eating disorders. So I have a binge eating disorder, but I also have a borderline anorexia disorder. So there are times where I will stop eating for a really long time. In my family, we jokingly call it the starvation diet, just because I've learned that if I make light of it, it helps me overcome it. If I make it something that isn't so overwhelming, then it won't overwhelm me, and then I can rise above. So I go through these two phases, and I really have to battle through it. And one thing that I learned last year especially was that most of my life I haven't felt safe inside of my body. And in not feeling safe inside of my body, I didn't feel safe to be myself. So I pushed everything down. I pushed down the things that I wanted for myself. So I changed it. I pierced my lips. I pierced my eyebrows. I tattooed my hands. I'm going to be tattooing my fingers too. I can't wait. But these are things that I'm not doing it to punish my body or to harm my body or anything like that. What I'm doing is I'm saying this is my way of expressing my love for myself and who I am in this world more fully, more openly. I'm no longer repressing these parts of myself. I'm expressing them. And so when we are in flow with our emotional body, we can actually hear the messages from that emotional body and say, okay, this is all the things that I have shoved down, and now I'm ready to take these out. Now I'm ready to expand or express or share them in some way, shape, or form through the physicality that I embody in this life. And from there, then we move into the passions energy. We move to the east. So with the passions, we have the card number 3 with sacred space and Venus. And oh my gosh, these cards. I've had them forever. And I just, every time I use them, I am just so in awe of how beautiful they are. Oh my goodness. These are Studio Artemy, if anybody is curious. I believe they are out of the UK. They're a small creator, but just incredible. Maria is amazing. Anyway, so with this sacred space, this is saying, okay, I now know how my emotions communicate. I know how they are felt through my body. I know the parts of myself that I have been pushing down, and I am ready to bring these out. So I'm going to create this space, this art, this beauty, this worth and worthiness around me, this sacred space. This is about you valuing what you exist within. So a sacred space, it doesn't have to be something super over the top. Guys, you're literally right now joining me in my sacred space. But the thing is if I move back, you can see my papasan here. There's a bookshelf back here. Next to the bookshelf is my fireplace and my TV over this way that you guys can't see, but it is that direction. Behind me, there's another papasan. There's more shelves. I'm in my living room. Like my main living area is where I'm at right now. And this is still my sacred space. My home is my sacred space. And yet there's also this beautiful nature trail just outside of town. There's actually 2 of them that I absolutely love. And those 2 are my sacred spaces, but they're shared sacred spaces. These are places that I have gone to and that I can go to find more inspiration. I have found that when I go to the gym and I'm on the treadmill and I've got my headphones on and I'm just kind of losing myself in the moment, I'm in a bubble of sacred space. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It's about having that motivation to actually create it for yourself. or to see the ways in which you have already created it. Your entire being is a sacred space. Your body is a sacred space. Your mind, your heart, your soul. When you have this, when you create this, now all of life can be created around you, through you, for you, and in every aspect. So we're sitting in this limbo space, and when we create a sacred space, now we know this is how I am going to express this truth of myself. Now let's see the mental body. Ancestors. Our family tree can tell us so much. Our ancestors, they're always around us. They're always near us. And I talked earlier about how I felt as though after my aunt died, I had lost a connection, a belonging. I lost my sense of an origin point in my life. It doesn't mean that I have lost touch with my ancestors. We have soul ancestors, we have blood ancestors, we have ancestors of place and time, and all sorts of different ways of being connected to the ancestors. But we also have this understanding that we also are ancestors ourselves. We are ancestors to the future descendants, the future generations. We are the ancestors for them. So this is about redefining how you interact with your ancestors. Our ancestors, they're there to teach us. They're there to show us these are the patterns, these are the wounds, these are the generational trauma and karma that we unfortunately left behind in our lines, in our bloodlines, in our soul lines, that you chose to come here and carry, that you chose to come here and help us to overcome. And because of that, our ancestors honor us. They honor us being here. They honor us changing that. And we all have the capability of doing that. So when we feel like we've lost a connection to ourselves or to the world or to our origin points, like me, we can remember that our ancestors still love us, that we are still connected in a greater web, that we don't have to repress who we are out of fear, that we can see that everything that we do, everywhere that we walk through this life with this sacred space, this creation. We can change the way that we view ourselves, the way that we view the world, the way that we view this entire existence. And when we change that, we change the fabric of reality. We change the very fabric of our reality, of our life, of our world. And that's why this place, this collective crossroads, this limbo space, that's why it's so damn important. I want my camera to focus here. Maybe not. Maybe not. Interesting. It's almost like Spirit is saying, if we focus less on the portal of getting out of the limbo space and more about the dynamics of the different ways in which our body, our emotions, our mind, our understanding, our awareness, our physicality, our inspiration all flow and communicate with each other, how Spirit moves through us, we will learn how to take action with the animus. We learn how to take action. We learn how to embody that yang energy, that divine masculine creative energy. And the divine masculine energy always needs direction. That is the beauty of carrying both the anima and the animus, is that we carry the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And the divine feminine is the receptor. The divine masculine is the creator. So the divine feminine receives and then informs the divine masculine. What is it that your divine feminine has been receiving, and how long have you been receiving it and not heeding that call? The more that we repress our desires, the more tangled the web becomes, and we forget how to come back to center, how to come back to ourselves. This is a time, this is a place in which we're called forward. We're called to kind of evaluate the different compass points, to recognize where our true north is, ground that truth down into our very bones. Walk through this world recognizing that who we are is sacred, and we are going to move forward in creating that sacred space in our lives. That space that is there to create a better life for our descendants, we here as the ancestors, to learn from our ancestors, to choose differently. Everything comes down to choice on this one. Everything comes down to choice. It's what we choose that matters. I remember 6.5 months ago sitting down and saying, I believe we get to choose. I still believe that we get to choose. I made the mistake of not choosing the right path for myself once, and I got really off track. And now I'm back, finding my way back through the darkness, back through the forest, back through that dark night of the soul, back to the world, back to all of you, because I found my way back to myself. Whether you're lost on the path or you just needed that extra boost so that you knew that you were doing the right thing for yourself. However this resonates, I am glad that you are here. I'm glad that we are together. I'm glad that we have this sacred space between us. And I honor that in everything. What choice you make, that's where your heart, your soul, and your guides and your ancestors come in for yourself. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that I believe in you. And that is the message that I have for the collective today. So I am going to leave you guys here. I love you all. Thank you so much for all your patience and for being here and all the good things and stuffs. I love you guys. If it resonated and you guys want to support my channels, go for it. Like, share, subscribe, all those fun things. If you guys just want to listen and mosey on, I hope you have a wonderful day. I love you all. Mwah. Bye.